In the quaint suburb of Riverton, nestled among trees and silent streets, stood an old Victorian house. Many locals avoided it, murmuring about its eerie past. But for Jane, a college student looking for affordable housing, it was a dream come true. Jane moved in on a crisp autumn afternoon, her breath visible in the cool air. The house was large, with creaky wooden floors and high ceilings. The previous owners had left most of the furniture, giving it an antique charm. Jane loved it, feeling like she had stepped back in time. The first few nights were peaceful. She enjoyed the solitude, the quiet evenings reading by the fireplace, and the occasional cup of tea while watching the leaves fall outside. However, as Halloween approached, strange things began to happen. One night, Jane was woken by the sound of footsteps echoing through the hallway. She dismissed it as the house settling, but the next morning, she found a single handprint on the dusty mirror in the hallway. It was small, almost childlike. Jane shrugged it off, convincing herself it was her own and she had forgotten. But the occurrences became more frequent. Doors would creak open on their own, the sound of soft whispers filled the air, and lights flickered without warning. Jane's friends urged her to leave, but she was determined to stay. She didn't believe in ghosts. One evening, while studying for her exams, Jane heard a child's laughter coming from the attic. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. Gathering her courage, she grabbed a flashlight and climbed the narrow staircase to the attic. The attic was filled with old toys and forgotten memories. In the corner, she noticed a small rocking chair, gently swaying back and forth. Jane's flashlight flickered, and she felt a cold breeze brush past her. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, plunging her into darkness. Panicked, Jane fumbled with her phone, using its light to find her way. As she moved towards the door, she heard the laughter again, closer this time. Her flashlight illuminated a small figure standing in the corner, a little girl in a tattered dress, her eyes hollow and dark. "Who are you?" Jane whispered, her voice trembling. The girl smiled, a sinister grin that sent chills down Jane's spine. "I've been waiting for you," she said softly. "You shouldn't have come here." Jane's heart raced as the girl stepped closer, her form becoming more transparent. The air grew colder, and Jane could see her breath in the dim light. She reached for the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. Desperate, she screamed for help, but her voice seemed to be swallowed by the darkness. The little girl reached out, her icy fingers brushing Jane's arm. "Stay with me," she whispered, her voice echoing in the empty attic. With a burst of adrenaline, Jane kicked the door open and stumbled down the stairs, her flashlight clattering to the floor. She ran out of the house, not stopping until she reached her friend's apartment across town. The next day, Jane returned with her friends and the police, but the house was empty. No signs of the girl, no footprints, nothing. The attic door was open, the rocking chair still. Jane moved out immediately, never to return. The house remained vacant, a silent sentinel on the quiet street, its secrets buried in the shadows. And on quiet nights, if you listen closely, you can still hear the faint laughter of a little girl, waiting for someone to come home alone. Years passed, and the old Victorian house stood as a chilling reminder of Jane's harrowing experience. No one dared to move in, and the house was soon labeled haunted by the townspeople. It became a place of legend, a test of courage for the local teenagers who would dare each other to spend a night inside. One crisp Halloween night, a group of 4 friends, Alex, Ben, Lisa, and Emily, decided to investigate the house. They had heard the stories but didn't believe in ghosts. Equipped with flashlights and a sense of adventure, they entered the house, the air thick with tension. The moment they stepped inside, the temperature dropped. The old wooden floors creaked under their weight, and the dim moonlight cast eerie shadows on the walls. They set up a few candles in the living room and began exploring. "Let's split up and cover more ground," Alex suggested, though his voice betrayed a hint of nervousness. Reluctantly, they agreed. Alex and Lisa went upstairs, while Ben and Emily stayed on the ground floor. As they moved through the house, the silence was punctuated by the occasional creak or distant whisper. Alex and Lisa reached the attic stairs. "Do you think the girl Jane saw is real?" Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "There's only one way to find out," Alex replied, trying to sound brave. They climbed the stairs, each step echoing ominously. Meanwhile, on the ground floor, Ben and Emily found an old journal in the study. It belonged to the previous owner, a man named Mr. Hargrove. As they read through it, they discovered entries about a tragic accident involving his daughter, Eliza, who died at a young age. He wrote about his grief and how he believed her spirit still lingered in the house. Upstairs, Alex and Lisa entered the attic. The air was frigid, and the rocking chair was still, just as Jane had described. They turned on their flashlights, illuminating the dusty, forgotten toys. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, and the temperature dropped even further. "Who's there?" Alex called out, his voice shaking. A soft giggle echoed through the attic, and a small figure appeared in the corner. It was Eliza, her hollow eyes fixed on them. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. Her voice filled with an otherworldly echo. Downstairs, Ben and Emily heard the door slam and rushed to the attic, the journal still in hand. They forced the door open, finding Alex and Lisa pale and trembling, the ghostly figure of Eliza hovering nearby. Emily held up the journal. "Eliza, we know what happened to you. Your father loved you very much." The ghostly figure seemed to waver, her expression softening. "He left me," she said, her voice tinged with sadness. "No, he didn't," Ben said gently. "He wrote about you, how he felt your presence every day. He never forgot you." Eliza's form flickered, the anger in her eyes fading. "I've been so lonely," she whispered. "You don't have to be alone anymore," Lisa said softly. "You can move on now." For a moment, the attic was filled with a warm light. Eliza's figure became brighter before gradually fading away, her expression one of peace. The temperature returned to normal, and the oppressive feeling lifted. The friends left the house, the eerie silence replaced with a sense of calm. They had faced the legend and brought closure to a restless spirit. Riverton's haunted house remained, but the stories changed. Now, they spoke of the brave souls who helped the lost girl find her way home.